Right, let's try and check out this and see if everything works as it should. So we're going to go just test out everything. So hopefully we have everything set up so we can go to menu, we can click DB whatever, and then let's just start with 1 and let's click checkout. And we have an error, so DB orders is not defined, and that's in my menu here. So let's see what that is. Menu DB orders. Oh, that's not actually true. We're in the store. So the DB orders is up here. The DB order, right, so somewhere I have an error with a DB order. Where do I have another? Here we go. I forgot to do an S down here. Maybe you did as well. So the constant name has an S to DB orders. So let's save this, and try again. So let's just do a refresh to make sure. And let's just add a 2 here, and let's add a salmon as well, just because we can now. And let's click checkout. Hey, no errors. So let's go to our Firebase and check if everything works. So right now it doesn't update, but you sometimes, or maybe actually usually for me, when I create a new collection for the first time, within this I need to reload manually this one here, and then afterwards it's going to update. Woo, it's there. So let's see this and click here, and it has its own separate ID. And now you can see the orders line we created before is now an array that contains the information about the bagels. So all meat, price, quantity 2, because we're passing in 2, and the salmon and the price and quantity and order number, and the status is not started. So now we need to figure out how we can present this data in our orders, because as you can see, everything is working. And again, this took some time for me to figure out, and some of the things I of course used is the console log to figure it out, but I also have installed this Vue here for Chrome, and it also exists to Firefox. And this is just an awesome add-on for this specific thing here, because you can actually see, if I just refresh this here to test with the view here, if I click menu, this is the component called menu, right? This contains many different things, so I can click here and stuff and everything. But my menu is the overall thing that I'm building things in. So I can see the data I'm having, the computer part, and so on. So if I actually add something down here, you can see the basket now goes and it populates it here. And I can add a little bit more, and total price is also calculating here, and so on and so on. And the basket dump right now is empty, but if I hadn't actually emptied this, once I click this one here, this would have been populated as well. And we can do the same in orders page. So orders right now, it has a basket dump that's empty. It has an array right now because we're passing in information. It's going kabooey right now because it can see there are 2 different things here, right? Because that's what we changed it to order items, the menu items, but it doesn't know how to present it correctly. That's why we have this here. So the order items that we're actually trying to present is first of all a array. It has an ID of JG, that's the first one, this one here, and then that consists of order line, order number, and status. So I have order line, order number, and status, and the order line again is an array that has 2 things, so I can expand this. See the first one, that's the top bagel with meat and quantity and so on. So we need to figure out how we can present the data here in a little bit different than we are right now, because of course that won't work, right, as we can see. So that's what we're going to try to do. So locate where we have our order items here, and we're going to just change this up a little bit, because this is not just one-to-one, because we need to actually have a for loop inside a for loop to present the next array that has all the items in the order lines as well. So let's keep this. This works. As we can see over here, it prints out the correct. We need to change around so it actually needs to know. So right now it's not the price we're looking for. We're looking for the order, what was it called, number. Let's just make sure over here. So order number, yes, that's the first one we want. So order number, that's to just present the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blah, 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 and so on. This one, we're going to change this up a little bit. The next 3, 1, 2, that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. So where we have our progress, we're going to change this. Instead of saying in progress, we're going to use our interpolation here, and we're going to grab the item status. So instead of having it being incomplete all the time, we're just going to do that now. Cool. So these three here, I'm gonna create a little bit space. So this is the first. I'm just actually gonna do it on one line to just hopefully make it a little bit easier for us. So I'm gonna make this go here, and the same with this one down here. Go over there, go there. So everything is in one line right now. These three, I'm going to attach a few styles to it and a class, so it's a little bit easier to read. But the first thing we're going to do, we're going to create a v for loop on the first one. So v-for, because we need to go into this collection here in the order lines and then grab for each product we're going to print out. See here. So we have the name just in a new line beneath each other instead. So that's why we need a v for loop now again. So first one is we're just going to call this item again. You can do something sub item, maybe that, but sub item, whatever works for you really. In item, because we're going through each of these items right now, right? So item in order line, like this, order lines. And then of course it needs its key, or it doesn't need it, well, it doesn't need it actually. And then we're just going to use the item ID. And that shouldn't present me with any errors, but it does, because something, this needs to be sub item, there we go. So instead of having item, this is going to be sub item, and then let's, what's the first one? Quantity, so not price, quantity, there we go. If I can help me spell, because I apparently can't do it myself. So that's the first one we need, right? And then we're just gonna copy the entire of this v for loop here and put this in the next one and the next one. So we have it like this. And this is fine because we need to create a new table data. So one of these blocks here for each time there is a new item, and then we're going to use some styling to make sure it's in one line. But let's just start here and see how that freaks up everything. So the next one is item, sub item name and sub item dot price. That should be correct. Let's try and do a save and let's see what this does to our system. I'm gonna just close this down here. So we have order item quantity name, and we have the bagel and the bagel here and the salmon and so on and so on. But right now it's not awesome, and as you can see we actually have bagel salmon that actually goes into the status where we should have our this one should have been here, and the prices should have been on top of each other and so on. So we have some errors we need to fix. One way I fixed it, and again this might not be the most clever way, but I don't know and I don't really care, it works, is that I used a paragraph here. So around my interpolation I created a paragraph and I gave it a style. Well, let's just create a paragraph for now. So let's see what this does to the system. So that moves things up there, great. The next thing I did was I added a style to it. So we remove the margin style and then just adding margin 0. And then I added a class, spell it correctly please, and just set this, no wait, I actually didn't do that here. I added the class to the TD over here. And then, where do you go? And then I did a P and then the y-axis for the padding, there we go, save. And I just remembered I did a total big mistake because the v for loop isn't supposed to be on the table data, it's supposed to be on the paragraph. So I'm just going to quickly move this into, remove it from the TD and move it into the paragraph, and do the same for the three others as well. So grab this, whoops, and move it, wow, bollocks. I'm just going to copy some here, sorry for the cluttering up everything. So I'm going to copy the paragraph, well, whatever. Since I blew up everything, I'm going to do it from scratch. So paragraph and paragraph. Alright, I did a wrongy. Read. So this is crazy. Let's do this and copy this out 2 times. That's just easier. So everything is easier. And then we just change the name and to the quantity to name, and the last one to price. Hopefully I remember correctly when I save. And now you can see we have using the table data for each of them, and then the paragraph instead is being what is controlling the loop. So quantity 1, 2, bagel, and we still have room, prices, status, and so on. And again, if we do another one in here, let's add a little bit, let's just do a refresh real quick. And let's do one of all these and so on, and check out, and let's go to orders. We should have one that's with 3. Now, we still have a problem with the order items. We still have some issues, and we still need to be able to delete and archive and so on, and change this while we click it. But right now we are passing in information, and we're presenting them in a way so we don't break the design. Again, if you have a better idea of doing this, I kind of messed around with a lot of different ways, and this is the one that seems to be the hardest to break. But yeah, so now we're presenting the data by using for loops and for loops as well from our data. And again, it's stored in Firestore. So even though I refresh here, it's still there when I go to my orders. And it's only going to disappear when I actively click remove. If it was in Vuex, the store here, it's going to be removed once I do a refresh. And it's only going to be looking at the orders on my computer. Now I can use it on any computer. Great. So the next one, we're going to create the delete function for it.